Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning on this Thirsty Thursday. It's almost the weekend, and I, as always, am your humble host, Van Eberts. And I am bringing you the World War II war drama Nuremberg tonight here. Well, I'm not actually bringing it to you. I'm bringing a discussion about the movie. All right, I'm not a director or a producer or an actor. I'm not that good. I'm not bringing you the movie, but you get what I'm talking about here. I'm providing you the forum to talk about this movie here back and forth with me right here via the live chat. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So any of you big Russell Crowe fans or Rami Malek fans or Michael Shannon fans or just fans like me of, movies that are commonly termed dad movies, which World War II dramas typically, unfortunately, get lumped in as, dad movies. Okay. Think of The Hunt for Red October, right? That's a classic dad movie there, although that was a fictitious movie right there. But so, like I said, we're going to do a deep dive. I'm going to bust out the scalpel and the suction, and we're going to do an autopsy on Nuremberg, but not until after this.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right, there. Yes, that is right. This is Movies Merica, aka Van Ebert, or Van Ebert, aka Movies Merica. Okay, whatever your pleasure there. Okay, but I want to welcome my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics out there. You guys know who you are, and I'm counting on you to join me here on the show, particularly in the live chat. So I'm not just sitting up here going yep, about Nuremberg all by myself. Okay, because I don't want to be that guy. Everyone just laying their head on their desk, drooling, sleeping, and I'm the boring substitute teacher up at the front of the school, just droning on. All right, there you go, yelling out there about Bueller. So I don't want to be that guy. I want you guys to interact with me here as we talk about Nuremberg here. That is for sure. But just to get into Nuremberg real quickly, I want to basically bring it to your attention that this movie is not just out. It's not in theaters anymore. This movie came out in November, but you can see it like very easily right now because it's on Netflix. So it's free on Netflix. And I say free on Netflix. It's free if you subscribe to Netflix. You get my point. But it's on Netflix right now, and it's something that you should check out. On my Sunday show, this last Sunday show here, when I did my spoiler-free review, I point blank said that, Nuremberg is must-see watching. And with the exception of the real concentration camp footage, I'd say it's a movie that you can show, any kind of your kids that are, maybe 10 years old or older, right there, as long as they have a parent there to, be there to explain to them and kind of comfort them, if needed, when they do play the concentration camp, like the actual footage of that there. But the rest of the movie, it's got some cursing in it, but I don't think there's even one F-bomb in this movie, I don't think. But it's PG-13. But yeah, so I would recommend checking it out right there. So it's really good. It's not historically accurate, it's not 100% historically accurate, but it's got some percentage of historical accuracy right there. But and one thing I would say about this movie here is the legal duels inside the Nuremberg courtroom were compelling. Okay, hands down, very interesting, very intriguing. Now we have Russell Crowe's role, okay, and he plays Hermann Goring, who of course is a real guy. He was like the top ranked Nazi out there. After all the scumbag Nazis that were above him and all unalive themselves and all of that stuff right there. But so Hermann Goring was the biggest fish in the Nazi prisoner pond here in Nuremberg, where they had the prison there holding the Nuremberg prisoners, and Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson, who is played by Michael Shannon in this, in putting the Nuremberg trials on, along with like the British and the French. I think Russia joined the fray begrudgingly, because Russia, keep in mind, Russia just wanted to go out and just kill any Nazi that they found. They didn't want to deal with any trials, anything like that. If Goring had been just found out in the middle of nowhere, or found out in the open, by some Soviets, or well, they weren't Soviets yet, but they were Russians at that point still. Yeah, Hermann Goring would have got 2 in the chest and 1 in the head there, if he was lucky. They probably would have done worse by him at that point. But again, so at the point is, the Supreme Court Justice Jackson, in putting these Nuremberg trials together with other countries, instead of just executing these evil twerps, opened the Allies up to losing court cases and just outright being embarrassed, just having egg on their face and just having to recover their pride. So, to put it mildly, the stakes were high, okay? And it would have just been a lot easier, just to line Goering, Hess. Rudolf Hess was another big, scumbag that they had in the prison there, along with Goering. And then, they had others there as well. And it would have been just a lot easier to line Goering and Hess and all the other scumbags just up against the wall and shoot them, okay? Cheaper, too, a lot cheaper. They wouldn't have had to, as you see in the movie, they wouldn't have had to, like, refurbish or, like, rebuild this courtroom in this building that had suffered, bomb damage, from the war and all that. So in order, the courtroom that you see during the Nuremberg trials, if you watch like the real Nuremberg trials, if you like fire, like if you go to YouTube and just search Nuremberg trials, excuse me, and you're watching the real Nuremberg trials, that courtroom, that ornates, very professional, very meticulous courtroom right there. That was a rebuilt courtroom in a shell of a building. Well, it was a shell of it, but it was damaged after World War II. So they wouldn't have had to do that if they would have just lined up these Nazis up against the wall and just, again, just, ventilated them with a bullet, or 2 or 3, right? There. Now, as a result, because the Allies could have been embarrassed here, that turbo boost the tension when Goering and Supreme Court Jackson are legally dueling during the trial. And as you see in the movie, you get a British guy also involved here and going up against Goring as well. And so, yeah, it's just the tension is palpable. Okay, you can cut it with a knife right here. And then, of course, Best Actor Oscar winner Russell Crowe, of course, chews up the scenery. And Michael Jackson, Michael Shannon holds his own there as well.
There's that big court conversation between me and Michael, who, by the way, from my sort of humble perspective, Michael's one of the best that I've ever worked with. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Absolutely. I worked with him a few years ago on Man of Steel, and we basically spent 3 months in the gym together working out this fight sequence we were going to do, So we had that intimate experience together of like sweating our asses off and working really hard physically on a thing. So there was definitely a trust between the two of us. And we were just going through the script, and I sort of noticed as we were coming towards that big sequence that they'd broken it out into 4 shooting days. So I, talked to Michael about it, and he goes, yeah, I was hoping you'd bring that up. It's like 17 pages, but there's no natural breaks. It's going to be very weird doing 4 pages of this, then going home and sleeping, and then coming back the next day to do the next 4 pages, because the energy could just completely change, And I said, well, if you're up for it, I'll discuss it with Jamie. I'll bring it up for him. He said, absolutely, man. So I went to Jamie about it, and we were talking about it, and I could kind of see that there was a little glint in Jamie's eye, which is like, this is what I hope for. But you know, as he said at the time, it would be highly irresponsible for any production company to actually schedule 17 shooting pages in a day. I said, well, you know, I've discussed it with Michael. I'm up for it. He's up for it. So it's really, you know, it's up to you. Jamie said, well, look, you know, I had thought about this, but we don't think that 17 pages is humanly possible. And I said, Jamie, Michael and I are from Krypton.
I dig it. I love it right there. So yeah, it's good stuff right there. Russell Crowe has always got a great sense of humor there. If you've ever seen him on Joe Rogan, you know, in other interviews he's done, he's very charming, and he brings his Australian charm to the mix right there. You know, and that's my. Actually, I wasn't trying to do an impression of Russell Crowe because it's hard to do a Russell Crowe impression. That was my lame Australian impression right there. So we're just gonna forget that happened there. Okay, so moving on. All right, we are seriously moving on. Okay, and let me just do this here. I want to just remind you really quickly that just like any other show here on YouTube or Rumble, there is this thing called a like button, and that is right down there. So if you are so inclined, please hit that like button right there. It costs you no money, and it costs you about 0.01 seconds to do it, okay? And then also, while we're talking about buttons there, there's also the follow or subscribe button, again, down there. And go ahead and click on that if you would. If you already have, don't do it because you'll unsubscribe or unfollow. And then also there's a notification bell also down there, and click on that if you haven't already. And that's just going to send you like one email a week to let you know that there's a new episode, you know, piping hot, delicious, tantalizing new episode of Movies Merica coming steaming out of the oven just for you. Okay. And then lastly, here, real quick, as I wrap this up, I just want to address anybody who's watching this, but you're not watching it live. You're just watching the recording of it because, you know, you just didn't have time to watch it live. You know, you're behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler, or, you know, you're too busy, you know, get your hands in a bowl of a cinnamon roll dough or something like that. You're just too busy cooking. You can't watch a show live or anything like. Or as we know, tonight's March Madness, right? It's the first big round of March Madness here. That's why I'm wearing my Michigan stuff here because interestingly enough, or not interestingly enough, my Michigan Wolverines are playing right now, okay, in their game. So, yeah, if I look like I'm kind of distracted, that would probably be why. Although I am not checking the score during this show right here. I'm laser focused on you and telling you about Nuremberg. So I'm not checking any scores. Okay. No, I don't know why I winked. I seriously am not checking scores. But anyway, back to the viewers here that are, you know, not watching the show live. We could still communicate, you know, back and forth with each other. We're just going to have to do it via the comments section, and that is down below. And yeah, let me know what you think of Nuremberg. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Are you kind of in between there? So, or let me know of you know, any movies that you want me to review there. I mean, all I ask is that, you know, it's a movie that you know that other people are, you know, likely, you know, going to enjoy a review of. I don't want you giving me suggestions like, you know, Belly Button Lint, the motion picture. Okay, let's not do that. There you go. But anyway, enough about buttons and comment sections. Well, let's move on. All right, we got more Nuremberg to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, but not until after I take a drink off my brewski right here, so which I will be talking about in more detail later on in brew review time. But for right now, I'm just going to take a drink. There you go. Hey, and if you guys are, you know, drinking on anything right now, you got yourself a brew or a cocktail or whatever. Hey, man, you know, drink up. You know, drink them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. I mean, this show is meant to help you relax. You know, on our way to the weekend because we are almost there. Again, this is pre-Friday. It's Thirsty Thursday, and yeah, that's definitely what you should be doing during the show, if possible, is yeah, kicking back, all right, and relaxing. But yeah, allow me to continue on with some Nuremberg here. And the evidence video, I was kind of, I think, touching on it a little while ago here, but the evidence video of the concentration camps was unsurprisingly shocking. maddening and saddening all at the same time. It cuts through all the legal minutia of the trial, all the intellect, all the academics of the trial, all the procedure and all that stuff. It cuts through all of that just with this powerful gut punch right to your emotions. And director James Franklin asked the cast, because he knew they were going to do Nuremberg research themselves, he asked them during their own Nuremberg research not to watch the Nazi concentration camps film that was shown during the actual Nuremberg trial. Okay, so the film that you see in this Nuremberg, this 2025 movie Nuremberg, that's the actual film that was shown during the actual Nuremberg trials there. Now they don't show it in its entirety in this Nuremberg 2025 movie here because it just would take too long to watch it there, and probably it'd be too gut wrenching, right? To show it that long, and that something along those lines, right? And James Franklin, the director, he just wanted them to be seeing that concentration camp video for the very first time when they see it while filming that scene for the movie. And he put 4 cameras on 4 of his lead actors so he could get their honest reaction. He put those 4 cameras on those 4 lead actors, like while they were shooting the scene where they were showing that Nazi concentration camps film right there, just so he could get their honest reactions to the horrors that these actors were seeing.
One of my favorite scenes is actually where the camera really zooms in on you during one of the trials when they're showcasing the video footage of the concentration camps. And you're viewing kind of for the first time what it's like on these different concentration camps with these emaciated figures and bodies. Did you feel like you changed as far as how you were running the facility at Nuremberg, how you were kind of treating those who were responsible for prosecuting those on trial in this scenario after seeing that footage?
When we saw that footage, depending on what the shot was, I think it was a couple of us together in the same shot, Colin Hanks maybe and Leo, I forget. They showed us the footage and they set it up so that we're going to show you this footage. We're only going to show it to you once because we don't want to subject people to this over and over and over like you oftentimes have to do in a movie. So we're going to show this once, and if it's appropriate for putting it in the movie, then we will. And it was strange. I was just talking to Mike Shannon about it, and he said there was a strange philosophical argument and hard not to get into your head about, like, am I supposed to act watching this thing or am I supposed to just react to? And then you sit down in your seat and they play the footage, and so whatever I did in the movie is just watching that footage. I had never seen it before. None of us had ever seen it before. And then we did it once, and then we were out of there.
And it's a powerful scene, that powerful scene where they're showing the actors and their reaction there. And you see it change Kelly's attitude. And by Kelly, I mean Douglas Kelly, the psychiatrist role that Rami Malek plays there. And Douglas Kelly, his attitude about the gravity of what he's part of in Nuremberg after he sees this film. Because as you can imagine, just like many Americans or just many people around the world, I mean, they knew that World War II killed a lot of people, but they didn't know about the horrors that happened in these Nazi concentration camps. Just the pure horrific treatment of a human being by another human being in mass by the millions. Like, they just didn't know of just the pure 100% pure evil that one human being can commit on another person there. And useless trivia here, but the Nazi concentration camps film was made by legendary director John Ford. Now, if you're not a movie maniac like me or a fellow freedom-fueled film fanatic like myself here, you're probably not going to know who John Ford is. You don't know John Ford from Harrison Ford, right? But John Ford was a legendary director here. While and he filmed this. He did this film here for the Nuremberg trials while he was still in the military. Remember, this is back in the day when Hollywood actors and directors would serve time in the military, and when they were done, they would perform kind of like Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was a Marine before Gene Hackman was an actor. Okay, so John Ford, legendary director, and he'd later go on to direct Hollywood classics like The Grapes of Wrath, The Quiet Man. That's a John Wayne movie. Stagecoach, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. There, so I mean, this is kind of legendary director that made that Nazi concentration camps film right there. So, and sorry about the beer burp right there. It's not very classy, I know, but just want to quickly say hi to hey, my good buddy Beyond Formal in the live chat there on the Rumble side, and hey, good to see you there, buddy, and I salute to you there. Haven't seen you there in a little bit right there, but I know people get busy and it's hard to catch everybody's show and acting like it, like, yeah, Beyond Formal. I need to like find your show more often right there. So, and I need to like run it by you as far as like what time your show comes on, because a lot of times I'll like get on Rumble and I'll just kind of like search around like, I wonder if Beyond Formal's got a show on tonight there. And I'm sure you've told me Beyond Formal before, but I suck at remembering things. But anyway, but yeah, all that to say is, hey, thanks for joining in here for, at least a little while there for as long as you can. And to hear about a little Nuremberg or show some support there. So, all right, but there we go. But I think here, in honor of Beyond Formal, I'm going to toast a beer to him and everybody else watching this show right now. And I'm going to do that in a segment we call Brew Review Time. Okay, let me show you tonight's brew of the evening here. There we go. Let's get that up there. All right. And what we got here is a little The Time Is Nigh Oak Age Fest beer right there. Comes to us from Modest Brewing Company out of North Somalia. I mean, sorry, Minneapolis, Minnesota there. So sorry, honest mistake there. And it's called a fest beer because a fest beer basically means like it's an Oktoberfest style beer. And this is a traditional style, traditional German style fest beer, which is kind of appropriate because this movie Nuremberg does deal with those Germans there. When they were in a little mood to start invading countries and starting world wars and all that stuff right there. But this is designed to be a cleaner, more drinkable version of the classic Marzen. And let's go over like how it's made here. So what it's brewed with, and it's brewed with German Mark Pilsner, Vienna and Munich malts. And as far as hops, it's kettle hopped with Bravo and Hallertau, Mittelfrüh, or Hersbrucker in some batches. That's the type of hops right there. And I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of some of those words because, those are words from the motherland. Okay. And, hey, the number one thing everybody wants to know, right? I mean, we're talking about beer, and the number one priority is, hey, how's it taste, man? I don't care about, what the hops and the malts are and all that stuff. Like, how's it taste when I pour it down my old gullet over here? So, and so I toasted I tasted, like some toasted bread flavoring in it, a little bit of like a little vanilla in there as well. Very subtle, very subtle. And then it's a lighter beer as well, with kind of a biscuit. The biscuit's the other thing that I kind of tasted there as well, but very subtle. Don't worry. You're not gonna like start drinking this beer and all of a sudden it's gonna taste like a Hardee's biscuit or something like that. Although there might be some out there that actually would want the beer to taste like that. So maybe they drink this beer and then they like put some butter on their tongue, or like, this is like liquid Hardee's biscuit, or liquid biscuits from Kentucky Fried Chicken or something like that. So right, and there's a subtle natural sweetness to it. I mean, like I said, it's and that goes very well with the vanilla that I personally tasted, and I don't know if they actually put any vanilla in it, but I tasted it in there just a little bit right there. and it comes to us at a alcohol by volume measurement of 5.2 there. So nothing nothing too earth shattering, nothing that's gonna knock you on your keister after one can of this right here. Now, as you see, it comes in a tall boy right there. So you're getting some good quantity and quality, because I am recommending this beer. I'm recommending The Time Is Nigh. And isn't that a Blondie song? That The Time Is? Oh, wait, what is it? What is it? Somebody live chat, correct me. What is that song? Yeah, The Time Is Nigh. The time is high, and I'm moving on. I'm gonna be your number one. So I don't know. I don't know if I got that title right, but anyway, that's what we call going off on a tangent right there. Let me bring it back here. So there we go. Back to The Time Is Nigh. And let's talk about like what foods it pairs well with, because sometimes you don't want to just drink the beer; you want to pair it with some grub, right? So so as far as the grub, it pairs well with Bavarian soft pretzels, bratwurst, currywurst, breaded pork or chicken schnitzel. Are you kind of seeing where I'm going with this? Or a lot of German foods that it goes well with here, which makes sense. Sauerkraut, roast chicken, and good old pork knuckle. That we eat all the time here in America, right? I mean, it's like probably every other meal that Americans eat is pork knuckle, right? There you go. So, but those are some foods that this brew pairs well with. There we go. Let's try that again. This beer pairs well with those kind of foods right there. But again, I'm recommending this brew right here, and I'm getting sick of holding this up and not drinking it, so I'm going to take care of that problem right now. Excellent. There we go. I'm putting that bad boy down right there. All right. So, yes, again, like I said, I'm recommending this. So, yeah, make sure you get your hands on some of this here, because this is not, the most common beer. It's not ubiquitous or anything like that. So, hey, I got my usage of the word ubiquitous in today, right there. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Good for me, right? So, yeah, it's not the most well-known common brand. You're not going to find it in every liquor store, across the seven continents. We is it seven continents? We have seven continents? Yeah, okay, seven continents. All right. So yeah, so you're probably gonna have to go somewhere like gopuff.com. That's a website that prides themselves on being able to get like any beer to anyone anywhere in the world. Okay, so like this right here, this is brewed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But say maybe you live in Fresno, California, and you want to get your hands on this right here. You can go to gopuff.com and they'll deliver it to you, but it's going to cost you some scratch, that's for sure. But you will get that beer in your hand right there. Open Bar, that's an app on your phone. That's on iOS and Android. And then also like Uber Eats, if you happen to have this brew in your area, Uber Eats doesn't just deliver your burgers and your chicken wings to you. Now they deliver booze as well. So there you go. So you got a few options there potentially, but I mentioned that because again, I don't want to just be a stingy hog and hog all this brew for myself as I beer burp. Sorry about that. All right. But anyway, I think that beer burp is telling me it's time to wrap up this brew review time. Okay, let me do this here real quick. I'm just going to do a little house cleaning real quick. And let's do this and do that and do this and do that. Okay. And so while I'm doing this here, go ahead and, just get another tug off of your drink, whatever you're drinking there tonight. Maybe it's something boring, like, you're just drinking a glass of water or something like that. But you know what? Hey, I won't judge. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. So, and you got to do what you got to do. All right. So, all right, there we go. So what should we do next here? What should we do next here on the show? What I think I know what we should do next here. I think what we should do is I should do something like let's do this. I want to show you something that I don't want to just hog to myself there. I mean, and that of course is the Movies Merica merch website here. Yes. I wanted to show you not just a website, but just to show you like all the merch items that you can get your hands on right there that has the big Movies Merica logo on it. And the first thing we have here is the camo trucker hat. So, and unfortunately, it doesn't have the purple on it there. So, I just wanted to be completely honest with my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics out there. That yeah, you're gonna get everything you see there except the purple. Okay, there you go. But we got all kinds of other stuff here. Of course, we've got this. The first logo we have here is the Big Mugs style of Movies Merica logo here. We got that on the hat, t-shirts, got it on tank tops right there. If you want to get yourself a wife beater, I'm pretty sure you can get that in white there. Let's see if we can get it. Yep, sure can. You can get that in white right there. There you go. Get that in white and get yourself a little wife beater action. Just imagine like a little pepperoni pizza stain right there as you're running out of the house to flee the cops out there. So and hide underneath a kiddie pool. But we got a hoodie, windbreaker here with that logo on there. Even got a sports bra on her there that you can get. And then moving on to the Holly Weird style of Movies Merica logo. And again, you can get that on all the same kind of items that you can get the Big Mugs logo on there as well. And then we're getting to my favorite style of Movies Merica logo, and that's the Black Adam style. And again, got that on all this stuff right here. It doesn't look like we have it on the windbreaker and the hoodie or anything like that. So, but maybe someday we'll get it on the windbreaker and the hoodie and all that kind of thing. But you might be saying to yourself, hey, hey, Van, I've got all your gear. My closet is full of nothing but Movies Merica t-shirts and hoodies and tank tops and all that stuff. Now it's time for me to move to phase 2. Do you have any drinkware there, good sir? And you know what, friend, get ready to be happy because yes, we do. When you're drinking your coffee, we have a coffee mug. When you're drinking your brew or whatever you're drinking, we've got a can-shaped glass, got a shaker glass, right, or a little pint glass. We've got koozies to keep your beverages, warm or cool, whatever the case may be. And then we got these desk mats here as well. Okay, so you got plenty of items here to find out with that there. And then also we got down here if you want to support Movies Merica in any capacity, by all means, go ahead and just donate there if you want. That's completely up to you. You might be like, oh, forget that, or you might just be plain broke. I don't know. Two very realistic options. Am I right or am I right there? Okay. But just wanted to show you that. And it's very easy to get to this merch website because we have the merch website down in the description right there. So you'll find the Movies Merica merch link in the description right on down there. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to hog all the Movies Merica merch. Get your hands on this right here for yourself. And also it makes a great gift as well for, a movie lover out there. Okay. Now it might not mean much to like your grandma who hates movies or anything like that. Like my mom, she hates movies. So I would probably not get her any Movies Merica merch or anything like that. Otherwise I might get written out of the will. And I don't want that to happen. That would be the opposite of good. There we go. Absolutely so. But anyway, enough about all of that right there. Just wanted to let you know that there was this thing called Movies Merica merch, and we have a Movies Merica merch website. So I'd say mission accomplished. Wouldn't you? Oh, yeah. All right. So moving on, getting down on the road here. And let's go over here. Let's check out something there. And I want to just get my ducks in a row here. Let's do this. And go over here, and there we go. And let's move on here because we got some more Nuremberg to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're not done with Nuremberg. That is for sure. But allow me, if you would. I want to feel like I'm getting a little parched, so I'm going to take a tug off out of the old time is nigh here. The tide is high. That's it. That's the Blondie song. There you go. Thank you very much right there. So, all right. So, again, more Nuremberg here. And so I went over what I'm about to talk about here already in my spoiler-free review episode about this movie, back on last Sunday right there. And I did that in my "Is This Movie a Woke After School Special" segment that I always do on my Sunday show there. But the word Nazi gets lazily thrown around today to the point that it almost has like no impact, no weight, or anything like that. No importance to it anymore, right? I mean, like it used to be, say like 25 years ago and before, if you use the word Nazi, it was like, oh my God, oh my stars, the word Nazi. You just said the word Nazi. Now people say Nazi, and they might also just say the word shoelace, or Rice Krispie bar, or, tree branch. Is like, I don't know, because it gets used. So kind of like the word racist, or xenophobe or anything like that, or homophobe. Like they get thrown around all over the place. So I'm like, yeah, that word means absolutely nothing to me. What am I? What are you trying to get a reaction? Am I supposed to react somehow to you calling me a homophobe? Means absolutely nothing to me. Like not at all. It gets thrown around so much. You've watered it down there. Congratulations. All right. You used to have that word as a weapon. Now it's completely you're out of ammo there, pal, because you use it way too much now. However, back in a period of time that today's movie Nuremberg, that word again stood for something real, not something fake. Like how leftists and never Trumpers use that word for Trump, or really anyone, not just Trump, but anyone who disagrees with them, right, politically, right. And the movie and some viewers makes the point that, we need to learn from this horrific period in history. Okay. Nazis and World War II and all this stuff. We need to learn from this horrific period in history. So, we could spot it in the future. Right. And you know what? I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. I completely agree with that. You have my vote in that regard right there. However, some people like to prematurely spot it, okay, and point their finger at what they think is the genesis of another horrific period, okay, like the Holocaust, okay, without doing any research about what the events were that led to the Holocaust, right? So if you don't do any research, if you don't know like what the little breadcrumbs were, the red flag, the steady line of red flags that eventually, led to this sad, terrible, tragic event of the Holocaust right there, then you wouldn't know, anywhere from a biscuit to a butthole, like what to look for. Okay, you just make things up in your mind, right? And again, that goes back to my take that the word Nazi gets lazily thrown around today. They throw that name out at people like candy, to the point it's created like this boy who cried wolf phenomenon. So we actually might really miss the real thing once it comes along, because we got people all over the place going, that guy's the next Hitler, that guy's the next Hitler. Well, she's the next Hitler, and that's the next Hitler, and oh, did you see that? Oh, that might be the next that might be the next Fuhrer right there. People doing that all the time, and it's simply all they're pointing to is the people that just disagree with him politically. Okay, but because they don't have any facts on their side, and they're well aware of that. Okay, they have absolutely no intellectual ammo on their side to support their point. They quickly go to their toolbox, and their little security blanket tactic they always use is throwing the word Nazi at everybody there, or fascist or something like that, right? You see people like a footage at riots and that kind of thing, or protests, and they just blindly just throw the word fascist, like, fascist, you're a fascist, get away from me, fascist. And they have no idea what that word means. No idea. They just know that their college professor told them to scream it as loud as they possibly can, as often as they possibly can. They have no idea. Okay, it's it's like a parrot, right? Like a little minor bird, like they just repeat like what they're told, like, you're a fascist, you're a fascist, you're a fascist, So it's really quite pathetic to watch right there. But I just kind of want to touch on that again a little bit. The point that I was going over first back on my Sunday episode there in my "Is This Movie a Woke After School Special" there. So I agree. Again, I agree. what's that phrase? What's past is prologue, right? And we do need to, if we don't learn about history, we're doomed to repeat it. No, and choose your saying there. And I agree, we do have to spot and call out something if we do spot something that looks like something we saw in the past. But if you don't know what all the line of events that led up to the tragedy, if you don't know what those events were, then what are you going to know? How are you going to know what to even look for, right? Okay, it's more than just spotting somebody that disagrees with you and they go Hitler. Okay, it's more than that. You need to know more history than that. So, but anyway, let me do this here real quick. Here, just want to double check something, and we're good to go there. And all right, so looks like we are getting pretty close to my actual favorite segments of each Thursday night show that I do. I don't do this on my Sunday show because I don't want to overdo it or anything like that. That's for sure. But we're coming up on my favorite segment called the movie military moment right there. And hey, Linda Rig 87 is up here in the live chat on the Rumble side going, lurky, lurky. All right, I appreciate that. All the same there, Linda Rig 87. All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, sometimes you just got to lurk while you work. There you go. Nice. Hey, that rhymed right there. Take that, Eminem. All right. I'm the formidable, preeminent white rapper now. I made a rhyme. There you go. But yes, we're going to get into this movie military moments. And essentially what the movie military moment is when I give myself a few minutes to pay tribute to a military hero that was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay. Now, some of you might rightfully, and I don't blame you, rightfully might be asking yourself, hey, Van, that's fantastic. I mean, I love the military. I realize we need them to protect, the homeland and me and my loved ones. That's fantastic. But riddle me this, Batman. What the hell does it have to do with movies? And you know what? That's a good question. Very good question right there. And I owe you an explanation. That is for sure. But not until after this. All right, it's exclamation time. Let's show that again. Explanation time. There we go. I got to get hooked on phonics over here. And so the explanation is, as you would imagine, if you are awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, you get it for, doing something heroic. You don't get it for being like the best letter sorter at the base post office or eating the most chow at the base chow hall or, shining the, best boots for all the officers or anything like that. No. You get it for doing something where if somebody, like all the spectators to whatever heroic event you're doing, they're all like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. I'm never going to forget this. This is like etch-a-sketching in my brain right now. It's it's weld or it's imprinting this into my brain forever. I will never forget this. And that what you do heroically to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor could be something like you run out there first and you've got like you're in World War II, right? And you're storming the beaches of Normandy, right? And you're out there and you've got your BAR. It's called a Browning automatic rifle is what that stands for. And you're mowing down Germans, and you're pointing up at the cliffs. You're trying to take them out, and you've got you run out of ammo, and you grab a flamethrower, and you're cooking some Germans, you're cooking some Krauts, right? You're cooking some Nazis or whatever, on there, and you run out of fuel, I guess, for your flamethrower. And then pretty much you just got nothing. All you got is like, you've got your sidearm and you're running ammo there. And again, but the whole time you're running out of this stuff, you're killing Germans left and right. Your body count is like up to 50, 57, whatever, right? And you've got all like your fellow Marines, Army, whatever, and they're watching you just run through all the Germans like a knife through warm butter, like a killing machine, and you're running through there with no regard for your life whatsoever. Okay, you're not ducking behind cover or anything like that. You just know that what the only way is onwards and upwards. We got to get this done. We got to take this beach, and everyone's watching you like, oh my god, look at that badass over there. My god, yeah, his T levels aren't down. Okay, and then you're saving your comrades, you're saving your fellow soldiers, and that kind of thing. Like maybe you pull a grenade out, you pull a pin, you run up to a bunch of Germans here in a German gun emplacement, and you take them out because they're about to mow down all your buddies right over there. So, and again, spectators are watching that, going, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!" Including your superior officer, and they're remembering what you did, and they write you up for a Congressional Medal of Honor. And so it's that kind of heroism, that if you saw it on a big screen in front of you, it would be a amazing movie military moment, and that's the connection right there. So yeah, there you go. So now that I've explained that to you, let's not make our honoree wait any longer than we've already made him wait right here. And our honoree for tonight during the movie military moment is one Lance Corporal Kenneth Lee Worley, who fought in Vietnam. Okay. And we're going to learn more about Lance Corporal Kenneth Lee Worley here. But I think that, the good Lance Corporal deserves some great movie military moment music. Don't you? I think so. So we're gonna play this while I read off his citation, and we're going to learn more about what the Lance Corporal did. This is the movie military moment. And in this movie military moment, we pay tribute to one Lance Corporal Kenneth Lee Worley, who fought in Vietnam. And let's learn more about Lance Corporal Worley. For him to this country and community at the risk of his life of the country was serving as the center. Somebody first client in action against any forces. That was the night in the house near Oman, Hamlet, and Guam. Security was set up, and the remainder of members prepared for their survival. During the early morning hours, Marines were doing by the two leaders warning that grenades landed in the house. Fully realizing the inevitable result of this action, and literally, valiant act of heroism, instantly threw himself on the grenade nearest him and his comrades, absorbing with his body the full independent force of the explosion. Through his extraordinary initiative and inspiring valor, in the face of almost certain death, he saved his comrades from serious injury and possible loss of life. The five was all Marines heard lighter wounds as the other grenades exploded. And Corporal Worley's gallant actions held the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the U.S. fearless. He gallantly gave his life for his country. And we salute you, and Corporal Kenneth Lee Worley, for what you did for your comrade and for this country in a war that is all too often forgotten. But we have not forgotten you here at Movies Merica, and that's why you're the honoree of this movie military moment. All right, outstanding there. So, Lydia says, I love the Vietnam ones. Those men don't get enough credit. Yeah, they do not. That's for sure. That was unfortunately a war where you had too many people with opinions and not enough people that are willing to fight for this country here. So that and also goes, okay, gotcha. It's too loud there. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put this mic. Actually, I should put the mic closer, not further away. I don't know why I was pushing the the microphone away right there, but there you go. Well, that's the thing is that's a frustrating thing is the music wasn't loud enough with the last software we're using, and now that we're using Rumble Studio, now it's too loud. So it's a it's an ongoing thing. But I appreciate the heads up on that. Lindy Rig 87 right there, and hopefully you and everybody else watching, whether you're watching live or the recording of this here, enjoyed that movie military moment. And I love doing them. It's one of my, it's my favorite segment there. And also, just real quick on a side note, you don't have to wait for me to do the movie military moment in order to learn about these Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. You can go to the website of CMOHS, so Congressional Medal of Honor there. So CMOHS.org/recipients. And yeah, you can check out the citations of these heroes right there. You can even organize it by what conflict, Vietnam, World War II, GWAT, or the Global War on Terror. So, however you want, right? And for me personally, one of the reasons that I like to look at them or read over them is, if I crawl out of bed, in the morning, primarily on weekends, and I'm feeling lazy, and I'm like, I'm not lifting a finger, not at all. I'm eating breakfast, and I'm just gonna slough off on the couch all day long, scratching my crotch and watching nothing but movies and not gonna get nothing done. And then I fire up, one of these citations here about maybe someone who earned their Congressional Medal of Honor storming the beaches of Iwo Jima. And then by the time I'm like in the second paragraph, I'm like fired up and ready to run through a wall. And I'm like, nope, I'm not sitting on any couch today. I'm getting stuff done. All right. And so it's very motivating because, yeah, if you start reading those and you're feeling lazy, then that never-ending, thought just sticks in your craw of, hey, this guy was over here mowing down Japs, risking his life, and you want to sit on the couch? What are you thinking, man? Like, what have you done with your day? So yeah, very good to check those out. I would actually check out some of the later or more recent wars here, like the GWAT, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, because those citations are, more detailed than the ones like, say, if you try to look at a citation for a Congressional Medal of Honor winner from the Spanish-American War, yeah, the citation is going to be pretty short. Sometimes it's just non-existent. You just have to imagine what the guy did to win to be a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor right there. But enough of that. I think you get the point. Hey, go to this website, cmohs.org/recipients, and check them out for yourself. But with that, that is the movie military moment. All right, so let me do this here real quick. I just want to take a moment here to let you know that hey, if you are appreciating what I'm doing here enough, doing the movie military moment segment, the brew review time, giving you the opportunity to talk in depth about whatever movie I'm talking about. If you appreciate any of that right there, among any of the other things that I do, enough to maybe throw a buck or two my way, or hey, however much you want. Then allow me to show you or tell you, I should say, how you can throw a buck or two or more my way. And so you can do that both in Rumble or YouTube as well. So in Rumble, what you do is you got to fire up the live chat window if you don't already have it open right now. In Rumble, I think it's just like a chat button or a live chat button there. And then that'll bring up the live chat window. And then down at the bottom where you type in a live chat message, you'll see a button with a $sign on it. You just click on that, and it'll just open up another window that'll ask you how much you want to donate. Now, if it's your first time, it'll ask you for like your credit card or your bank account information or something like that, right? But then you don't have to do that after that. But so that's how you do it on Rumble. If you're on the YouTube with the tube of views there, it works very similarly. It's uncanny. It's almost unnerving how similar it is. But so in YouTube, you just got to fire up the live chat window. And I think on YouTube, it's just the buttons is called chat. And fire up the live chat window, go down to where you type in your live chat message there. You'll see a button with a $sign on it, or a dollar bill on it. Sorry, a dollar bill on it. And then that'll open up another window when you click on that. It'll just, again, ask you how much you want to donate. And that's it. Very simple. I mean, you see what I mean? It's very similar between Rumble and YouTube. So easy. Hey, even I could figure it out. So, if a short bus van over here could figure it out, it's easy for everybody to figure it out. But again, that's only if you are so inclined. There, I know that sometimes money is tight, or you're just like, I got plenty of money, Van. It's just you suck. And so I totally respect that. Because, I'll watch some shows and maybe the show starts getting a little preachy, and I'm like, well, I was going to give you $5, but not anymore. There you go. You got on your soapbox, and you just lost yourself $5, and I'm sure you're crushed. Beyond belief about it. So, but anyway, I feel kind of dirty. I think I need to take a shower because I feel like I'm begging for money. So I'm gonna just stop right there and move on with the show. Okay, what should we do next here? I should probably. It would probably be the right thing to do to let you know what movie I'm going to be going over next week here. So, what movie my Sunday spoiler-free show will be about, and then of course what the show a week from tonight, the Movies Merica spoiler warning show that you're watching right now. What next Thursday's show is going to be about, or what movie we're going to cover, and that movie would be the new Ryan Gosling movie, Project Hail Mary. Okay. And I've already seen the movie, and you'll get my full thoughts on that, spoiler free, on Sunday during my Movies Merica live show. And that comes on at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, and 1 p.m. Pacific there. And that's just my hour or so long show where I just give my spoiler free review of the movie of the week there. Whether it's usually it's like a brand new movie, but every once in a while I do a retro review, like I did with Nuremberg this week, because this week was just a dead box office weekend here this last week, I should say, right there. So I did a kind of retro review because Nuremberg actually came out like not so long ago, came back out in November 14th, but unwisely I decided to do a review on back on November 14th of last year was The Running Man. Oh God. If I would have known ahead of time, I should have reviewed Nuremberg, but I figured more people wanted to, hear a review about The Running Man, and that was probably true. But Nuremberg is definitely the better movie there, so you should run to watch Nuremberg and slow crawl away from The Running Man. That's for sure. But again, next Thursday, then that will be the spoiler. I don't want to say spoiler heavy show about Project Hail Mary, but it'll be the show where if I drop a spoiler, I'm not going to care. All right. I'm not going to go out of my way to drop Project Hail Mary spoilers, but I'm also not going to walk on eggshells and, bite off all my fingernails worrying about it. But Project Hail Mary, it's, the new Ryan Gosling movie. It's based on the novel from Andy Weir, also titled Project Hail Mary. And he's also, Andy Weir sounds familiar, he also wrote The Martian, which, of course, they made into a movie with Matt Damon and others there. Ridley Scott directed the movie back in, 2014? So, 12 years ago already? Wow. I can't believe The Martian came out that long ago. Wow. But anyway, so, I'll be doing that next week. So, definitely check that out right there, because I think it's going to be like the biggest movie of the year so far. Okay. Because it's got a lot of buzz about it. But anyway, check that out, and tell anybody that has seen Project Hail Mary, or actually, for the purposes of the spoiler-free show on Sunday, they don't have to have seen it. That's the purpose of my Sunday show is, hey, you can get a spoiler-free review before you plunk down your $18 a person to go see a movie. There you go. Or if you have seen Project Hail Mary by then, please watch the show. Absolutely. That would be fantastic right there. But anyway, let me double check something over here. Real good there. Outstanding. Okay. And real quick, right now is when I beg people to follow me on the platforms that I'm on. And so, I'm on platforms like X. If you find me if you look on X, search for @Movies Merica. And I'm also on Facebook. I've got a Movies Merica group, a Movies Merica page. I'm also under my Van Ebert profile there on Facebook as well. On Instagram, although I don't get really on there all that much because Instagram is gay. But anyway, and then I'm also on Gab as well. And I'm on Rumble, of course. Now, if you search for Movies Merica on Rumble, you're probably going to find like 3 Rumble accounts or 3 Movies Merica accounts there. So if you would, just follow or subscribe to all 3 of them. That would be fantastic. And then as far as YouTube goes, the most you can do, you're not following me. You're following the Till Death Podcast Network right there. Actually, follow that too, because we want you to follow the Till Death Podcast Network on YouTube as well. But then as far as Movies Merica goes, then what you can do on that is just like all the episodes, all the Movies Merica episodes right there. So maybe you're doing rails with Lindsay Lohan and you're hopped up on coke, and you're feeling all ambitious and I got to do something, then hey, feel free to load up YouTube, the Movies Merica page on YouTube, and just start liking episodes. Oh man, I love that booger sugar. Or you can go on Rumble, because Rumble has, my Movies Merica account with all my episodes on Rumble, and get on there and start liking all that stuff right there. There you go. That's my impression of somebody who's high on coke. So as you can tell, I've never been high on coke. There you go. So there you go. So follow me there. And hey, if you want to let me know, if you want to direct message me on X, let me know that you followed me, this episode or this platform, that platform, so on and so forth. Let me know that, and I'll follow you right back. Okay, there you go. Probably would help if you gave me your username or whatever. But anyway, enough about that. There you go. But and again, I just want to thank everybody that joined the show here, including my good buddy Lindy Rig 87 here that joined. Who's in the live chat saying, exactly. Okay, it's got some wisdom about Instagram right there. There you go. But again, big thanks to Lindy Rig 87 and Beyond Formal for going above and beyond, not just watching, but getting in the live chat. There you go, right there. And then also, Lindy Rig was saying he was lurking earlier. And in case you're one of the uninitiated, lurking just means you've got the show on in the background or you're doing something else, right? So, and that's encouraged too. That's what I do with Lindy Rig shows, Beyond Formal shows, because they both have shows on Rumble there. So look up Beyond Formal and Lindy Rig 87. But I'll fire up their shows, and I outright I'm just way too busy to even get in the live chat and say hi. But I do have their shows on in the background, and I also like their episodes and all that stuff there as well, so they get credit for that. But you can do that with my show there as well. You can lurk, or especially with this spoiler show that I have on tonight. I get it. You don't want to watch a show, where I'm dropping spoilers about Nuremberg if you haven't seen Nuremberg. Which, again, to that point, Nuremberg's on Netflix. Check it out. Okay, right now it's on Netflix. But again, understandably, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, hey, just fire up my Movies Merica spoiler warning show and just mute it. There you go. I know, very complicated, very, very complicated, very intricate plan. And do that. And that's what I do sometimes with shows. I just mute it. But the creator of the show, they get those precious, precious watch minute stats. There you go. But anyway, whoa, hey. Lindy Rig 87 says Beyond Formal got a shout out on Crowder today, on Stephen Crowder. Sweet. Outstanding. Well, hey, with Beyond Formal, you've been out there on the front lines, and, you've been in the Rumble trenches long enough, and have been getting your stuff out there long enough. It's about time. You get a shout out on Crowder right there. Absolutely. That's fantastic. So there you go. Hey, now I can say I know a celebrity, Beyond Formal. There you go. Hey, I want to be like, hey, everybody. Oh, yeah, I know Beyond Formal. What? You do? Whoa. There you go. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, there you go. But we're getting ready to wrap up this episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning right there. But as always, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya. Howdy, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Would you do me a favor and check me out at solo.to/moviesmerica? That's where you would go for a one-stop shop for all the links that have to do with me, Movies Merica. And then also, if you want to check out the audio-only podcast versions of my Movies Merica live episodes, that's my spoiler-free reviews that I do on Sunday, you can go to moviesmerica.com or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places like that. And then, actually, if you would also check me out on the social media sites like X and Instagram and Facebook and Gab. And I'm on those locations all under @Movies Merica. So it is very easy to find me out there, all right? So get to it, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. Later.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.